Hi, Team CSAC. My name is Adrienne Mulliken. I'm the Commissioner of the CSAC, and I want to welcome you to the first program in the CSAC Raise Your Game virtual programming series. I'm so excited for you to join us this semester as we bring you some awesome programs that are hosted by staff and administration within our conference membership. But first, let me introduce you to our conference office staff. Like I mentioned, my name is Adrienne Mulliken. I have served as the Commissioner of the CSAC since 2016. I operate out of a home office located in Scranton, Pennsylvania, in beautiful NEPA. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm a huge Orioles fan. And my favorite sports are baseball and swimming. I was also a Division III student athlete in the sport of swimming at Hollins University in Roanoke, Virginia. Now I'd like to introduce you to our Assistant Commissioner, James Wagner.
Hi there, everyone. My name is James Wagner, WAGS for short, and I'm the Assistant Commissioner of the Colonial States Athletic Conference. I'm in my 5th year at the conference. I've spent the last 17 years in intercollegiate athletics, with 15 of them at the Division III level. I'm a 2001 graduate of Susquehanna University, where I majored in broadcasting. Although I enjoy all sports, my favorite sports are football and ice hockey.
For those of you new to the conference, the CSAC has 11 core members located in 3 states, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Maryland. Here is a map showing the footprint of our conference membership.
The footprint of the conference allows student athletes to compete against different like-minded institutions with travel designed to minimize missed class time, allowing you, the student athlete, to be able to handle your academic workload.
Did you know the CSAC is just one of 43 conferences in NCAA Division III? Do you want to use what you learned in these programs to make a difference for your sport, for the conference, and for the entire association? Let's hear how you can do just that through this short video from National SAC.
So what is the NCAA, and where do you fit into it as a Division III student athlete? You might be surprised to find out that your voice matters.
When I first arrived on campus, I thought the NCAA was just an office that organized the championships and made the rules we had to follow. But I've learned the NCAA is 3 divisions of over 1,100 colleges, universities, and conferences, and 460,000 student athletes. So in reality, the NCAA is all of us, especially the student athletes. That's why it's so important that you know your voice matters.
Division III is the largest of the 3 NCAA divisions, with 450 schools and 183,000 student athletes. It's the mission of Division III to have an environment where athletics are an integral part of the educational experience.
So who makes decisions in Division III to help us stay in line with this philosophy? Well, the Division III governance structure is made up of several committees that create legislation, organize championships, manage the finances, and oversee all other aspects of the division. Student-athlete representatives play a huge role on almost every single committee, ensuring that our voice is a part of the decision-making process. By having student-athlete representation on these committees, Division III is making it clear that your voice matters. We get it. It's easy to say your voice matters on these committees, in Division III and the NCAA. But I'm sure you're thinking, if my voice matters, how is it heard? Well, let us show you how the flow of information works and how you can get involved.
First, let's talk about the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, or SAC. SAC is a group of student athletes who come together and enhance the total experience by promoting opportunity, protecting student athlete welfare, and fostering a positive image while maintaining the tenets of the Division III philosophy. SAC exists at 3 different levels: campus, conference, and national.
A campus SAC is meant to serve student athletes on the local level. In other words, the issues or concerns on a specific campus. During their regular meetings, campus SACs discuss issues that affect student athletes at the conference and national levels, as well as organize or assist in the planning of community service events and serve as leaders for the entire campus community.
Conference SACs are typically made up of members from each school in a conference and meet around 2 times per year. At conference SAC meetings, student athletes can voice their opinions on potential legislation, discuss broader student-athlete well-being issues affecting the conference, and organize conference community service initiatives.
Finally, Division III National SAC is comprised of 22 student-athletes, each representing their own conference as well as a partner conference. After collecting feedback from institutions and conferences, National SAC members represent student-athletes on the floor at the NCAA convention where rules are voted on by the Division III membership. National SAC also champions other initiatives like the You Can Play project, the It's On Us campaign, and the Division III Special Olympics partnership. Essentially, the communication cycle goes from campus SAC to conference SAC to national SAC and back. Along with the committee's representation, this communication cycle ensures that you, as a student athlete, have a way to voice your opinions, because as a Division III student athlete, your voice matters.
The student athlete voice isn't just important, it is essential to the success of Division III and the NCAA. Division III student athletes have had a voice dating back to the creation of the division, and that voice is as important as ever today. Each one of you has the potential to make a difference. Make sure your voice is heard by getting involved, whether it is with the SAC at the campus, conference, or national level, at practice with your teammates and coaches, in the athletics department with your administrators, in the classroom with your peers and faculty, and in the community. Congratulations on being a Division III student athlete, and remember,
your voice matters.
The CSAC has a presence on social media on 3 main outlets: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. These 3 platforms are used to promote information about Players of the Week, conference milestones, and institutional events. As of today, we are at 2,973 followers on Twitter, 1,020 followers on Facebook, and 1,250 followers on Instagram. We want those numbers to increase, so we ask you follow us on those 3 platforms if you're not doing so now. You could win CSAC swag for helping us hit new milestones.
We also want to see how you raise your game with your teammates. Show us on social media and use the hashtag #RaiseYourGame. Get creative, Team CSAC. Wags and I have loved watching you raise your game on the field and on the court through all the success that you have achieved. Here are some of those memorable moments.
Let's go!
In the last year or two, that he's built a program that people know who UMBC is now. They didn't really before he got here. Three-pointer launch.
Hands! Hands!
I'm going to ask of you one simple question. How can we help you raise your game? We have various topics this semester, but if you're feeling we're missing something that you would like to see us cover, you can tell us. On the Raise Your Game page, as you can see right here, you can click on this link and fill out the form, and we will do our best to get that on our calendar. Also, I want to personally hear from you. How are you doing this semester? What did you do during the summer? What are you doing in place of competition? I would like to tell your story, so you can do one of 2 things. You can tell your story to your sports information director or coach, who will in turn forward it on to me, or if you want to email me, you can do so at jwagner@csacsports.org. I am more than happy to help you get the word out about what you're doing.
All right, let's get to our first presenter for the CSAC Raise Your Game program. Take it away, Mike.
Hello, my name is Mike Schau, and I'm the head men's golf coach here at Clark Summit University. I had the privilege to coach basketball here for 20 years, and I was the athletic director for 8. We were members of the CSAC upon its inception. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, Adrian, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to our student athletes about raising your game. As I think about raising your game, I think about a couple things. The first thing I think about is our attitude. And I like to define attitude as the choices that I make me. How many times do we allow our circumstances to ruin our attitude? We allow things that are inconvenient. Maybe it's a coach that gets on us. Maybe it's just something off the court or off the field that brings us down. Maybe it's a bad grade, maybe it's something at home, maybe it's a family situation. We allow those things to affect our attitude, which then creates this downward spiral. I think about coaching basketball. Guys would make a mistake and they hang their head and then things go south. No, attitude, the choices I make me. I don't allow an official, I don't allow a coach, parent, I don't allow circumstances, a teacher, to bring me down. I choose joy. I choose to be a victor over my circumstances instead of a victim. One thing I'd like to share with you is Attitude by Chuck Swindoll. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think, say, or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we embrace for that day. We can't change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. The choices I make me. You can be either a champ or a chump. A champ is somebody that their attitude, they don't allow their circumstances to get them down. They overcome them. A chump is somebody that's always focused on themselves, and it brings them down and it brings the people that are down around them. My dad used to tell me, some people bring happiness wherever they go, and some bring happiness whenever they go. I trust that you're that person that brings happiness wherever you go. That you don't bring situations down or make them better when you leave. That when you arrive, you make a situation, you make an environment better. And that you do that with your attitude. We can be either a victim or a victor. We can find ways to complain. I struggle with it too. But we need to find things, the positives in things, to help us with our attitude. Have you ever gone through a tough time, a circumstance, maybe a practice, a class, a situation in life, and after you've gone through it, you're like, I know why I went through that. I needed that. We need to learn to thrive in our circumstances, just don't survive. Find the gravel in your gut and the spit in your eye. Find that toughness that gives you a positive attitude when things aren't easy to have a positive attitude. That's what separates people. I trust that you are in control of your attitude and you don't let your circumstances affect you and your attitude, bring you down, and bring others with you. We need people in today's society, especially with what's going on in our country. We need people to have positive attitudes and lift people up and go forward instead of allowing all this stuff to drag us down. I trust that you'll do that with your attitude. I trust that you'll do that with your team in workouts and practices. Yeah, we can find things to complain about, but that's what everybody does. Let's be different. Let's be champs. Let's rise above it. And let's not only be champs with attitude, but also in empowering and encouraging others. When I coached basketball here, we would give a role on our team as a guy who was the captain of the bench. And that was a kid that we knew was not going to get in the game. And his role was to keep our bench involved in the game. We would ask our bench to count down when the shot clock got to 10. It was his role to do that. It was his role to get water for people that were playing. It was his role to encourage people. If somebody took a charge or dove for a loose ball, the captain of our bench better bring all kinds of energy. And I remember when that kid, when we were either beating a team by a lot or losing by a lot, and he would get in the game, the guys on our team would cheer for that kid with a lot of emotion because he did for them. What do you do to empower other people? First of all, it starts with your attitude. He didn't allow his attitude to get him down because he wasn't playing. He understood his role, and he did it. Well, I got a kid in mind. He did his role with energy and enthusiasm and a great attitude, and it affected other people. How are you affecting other people positively? I don't know if it's in workouts or class, situations in life. We can find ways to complain, but I think we need to spend more time finding positive things. They took two people. One was a pessimist and one was an optimist. They took the optimist and they stuck him in a room chest deep full of horse manure. And they took the pessimist and they found everything that the pessimist liked. And they put that kid in a room where it was all positive. His favorite color, his favorite food, his favorite TV shows, his favorite video games. And they said, we're going to eliminate everything that this kid's going to complain about. They said, the optimist, we're going to find a way for him to complain. The stench of horse manure, flies, insects, it was nasty. We're going to make this kid complain. Within minutes of putting the kids in separate rooms, they go to the room of the pessimist and they hear the kid fussing and they hear commotion. They open the door and the kid smashed his video controller because he was eating potato chips and it caused him to lose in his game and he was furious. And they're like, oh my goodness, how in the world can this kid complain? We made all his favorites, but he still found a way to complain. Drag people down. Well, if this kid's like this, what's the kid over here? So they went in the room of the optimist, and as they got closer to the room, they heard all kinds of action and energy and commotion and noise. And they opened the door, and the kid is throwing horse crap everywhere. And they got his attention, like, what are you doing? You got it all over yourself. What are you doing? And he said, well, I figured there's this much poop in here. There's got to be a horse in here somewhere. I'm looking for the horse. How many times are we like the kid, the pessimist, that just finds ways to complain? We're in great situations and we find ways to complain. What we need to be like is the kid who's the optimist, who's in a terrible situation, and he finds ways to have a positive influence, not only in his attitude, but other people. Pick other people up. Maybe it's send a text, spend time. You know somebody's going through a tough time, find ways to encourage them. Find ways to pick them up. Get your focus off yourself and look to encourage other people. We need to do more of that. We have a tendency to drag things down. Somebody starts to gossip about a teammate, say something bad about a teammate. You need to, instead of adding to it, you need to eliminate that. So to raise your game, one, look at your attitude. Two, look to encourage. Look to serve other people. Find ways to serve others, not just serve yourself. And the third thing is, work hard. Find the hardest worker on your team. Sports have been canceled for the fall. Find a way in individual workouts and practices that you can do. Find a way to be that hardest worker. Find the hardest worker and outwork them. And do so with a smile. Do so because you enjoy it. Chuck Noll, the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, used to say, the mercenaries will always beat the draftees, and the volunteers will whip them both. Because they're properly motivated. Be that person that goes, whether it's in the classroom at your university or college, or on the practice field, be that person that's properly motivated and you work hard. You want to be there. Lift other people up with your work ethic and your attitude. So as you think about raising your game, I really want you to think about your attitude. I want you to think about how you serve, encourage other people, and how hard you work. A little homework for you. I want you to find situations It's always easy to find things in other people than yourself when they do wrong. But I want you to look at situations where maybe one situation where you had a bad attitude and you didn't respond, and one situation where you had a good attitude and the outcome as a result of it. I want you to take the time to spend time with a teammate this week, encouraging them. And I want you to take the time to serve somebody. Do an act of service. Get the focus off yourself and serve somebody else. I know in conditioning, when our coach used to tell us, don't focus on how tired you feel, but to get the focus on picking somebody else up, it really helped. I want you to take note and make note of serving somebody this week. And then I want you to be the hardest worker. Whether it's in homework, whether it's in practice, work the hardest. I want you to write down things that you did. Maybe it's in the weight room or skill development. Track that this week and see if that makes a difference in helping you raise your game. Again, I thank you for the opportunity, and I hope that you raise your game not only in a skill or a sport, but more importantly in life. Thank you.